Málaga Radio.
Freshly squeezed.
The juice on all the daily events along the coast.
With just a little bit of zest.
There's something about this week. It feels like things are starting again, but not in a big, obvious way. Just a shift.
Yes, and it's not just the week, it's us as well. We've been away for a bit, and now everything feels slightly different coming back.
It does. Even sitting here, it feels new again.
I'm Carmen, by the way.
And I'm Baptiste, trying to keep up with her most of the time.
That's not true.
It's completely true. It is different. The studio helps, new setup, new microphones, which I'm hoping people can actually hear.
I think they will. It sounds warmer, a bit closer, like we're actually in the same space again.
Which we are, finally.
And if you found us again, or you're just arriving, this is the weekly diary on Málaga Radio, where we sit down and talk through what's happening across the coast this week.
Not everything, just the things that stand out.
And the ones you might not have known about until someone mentioned them.
If you're searching for it, this is Season 2, Episode 1, so you're in the right place.
And everything we talk about, you can always find it on malagaradio.com or across the usual platforms.
But this week, especially, it's a good one to start with.
Yeah, it really is. And just a small heads up before we get into it. If you're heading to San Pedro this week,
I already know where this is going.
Some people don't like sharing, so you might want to plan accordingly.
That is very good advice.
You decide how you handle that.
Carefully.
Málaga Radio.
All right, let's get into it. There's something about this week. You don't notice it all at once. It sort of builds around you. Little things at first. People gathering, streets changing slightly, and you realize something is starting.
And it's easy to miss if you arrive later in the week because what you're seeing now is the preparation, not the spectacle. And that's usually the part people remember more.
Yeah, it still feels close at this point, like it belongs to the neighborhoods rather than the crowds.
You start to notice it in Malaga itself, the smaller traslados, statues moving through the streets, not big processions, just moments where everything slows and people stop.
and you don't need to plan for those. That's what I love. You just come across them, you pause for a few minutes, and suddenly you're part of something you didn't expect.
It's not really about finding an event at that stage. It's recognizing what's happening when you see it and understanding why it matters.
And then you go somewhere like Antequera, and it changes completely.
Yes, because this is where it becomes physical, the Correr de la Vega, and it's hard to explain until you see it. Groups carrying these huge structures and then running with them through the streets.
You feel it when they pass. It's not just something you watch. It's the sound, the movement, the energy of it.
And this is one you would actually plan into your day because it's not something you casually come across. You go there for it, and once you see it, you understand why people talk about it.
It's intense, but also really emotional at the same time.
Because everyone is involved, that's the difference. It's not separate from the town, it is the town.
And then the complete opposite, Rio Gordo.
Yes, the passion play, and this is something else entirely. Hundreds of people from the village taking part, not actors in the usual sense, just people who live there.
It feels so real when you watch it because you know it matters to them.
And if you're looking for something immersive, something where you sit and take it in rather than move through it, this is one you'd build your day around.
And all of this is leading somewhere.
Yes, by the end of the week, everything shifts.
Palm Sunday, suddenly it's visible everywhere. The light, the colors, families out, children with palm leaves.
And this is where it becomes recognizable to visitors. This is the moment where you realize the whole region has stepped into Semana Santa.
But what you've seen before that, the quieter side, that's the part people don't always understand.
And that's why the Semana Santa special is worth listening to, because it explains this part, the community side, what's actually happening behind what you see.
A few things to keep in mind as you move through the week.
Marbella Design and Art, final days if you want something more modern and visual.
Estepona vive sus calles. Music, food, people moving everywhere. One of those nights that builds around you.
The Champion Burger in San Pedro, more social, more energy, something that easily becomes your whole evening.
And the Tattoo Expo in Estepona, something completely different. Creative, busy, full of character.
Everything we've mentioned is on malagaradio.net, so you can find the details and see what fits your week.
And honestly, This is one of those weeks where you don't need to plan too much. Just pay attention. You'll start to see it.
Málaga Radio.
After everything we've just talked about, this part of the week feels different. You step inside for a moment and everything slows down a little. The noise drops, the light softens, and you start noticing things you would normally walk past.
Yes, and it's not about big events here. It's more about where you choose to stop, what you give your time to, because that's what changes the experience.
Like Marbella this week, that design and art show, it's not what people expect.
No, because it's not really an exhibition in the traditional sense. You're not just looking at pieces on a wall. You're moving through spaces, and each one feels completely different from the last.
You walk in and the light changes straight away. Textures, colors, everything feels very intentional, like you're stepping into someone else's idea.
And this is one you take your time with. It's not something you rush through. You move slowly, you notice things properly, and if you like design or architecture, this is where you want to be.
It's quite calm as well. Even when there are people there, it doesn't feel busy. It just feels considered.
Because everyone is looking, not just passing through.
And then Malaga, something completely different again.
La Concepción, the botanical gardens, and this time of year is very specific because the wisteria is in bloom and that only lasts for a short window.
It's beautiful when you walk through it. The color, the smell, everything feels soft, like you're slightly removed from the city.
And this is one you build into your day rather than stumble across. You go there deliberately, especially in the morning or late afternoon when it's quieter and the light is better.
You slow down without even thinking about it. You just walk, stop, look around, and stay longer than you expected.
And if you've had a busy few days, this is exactly the kind of place that resets everything.
And then back into the city, but in a completely different way.
Yes, somewhere like Teatro del Soho, and this is where culture becomes more focused. You sit, you watch, and everything is about the performance in front of you.
Flamenco like that feels very different. It's not loud or chaotic. It's controlled, and you feel every movement.
And this is where you choose your evening rather than find it. You go there for that experience, and it becomes the center of your night.
You come out of it feeling like you've actually seen something, not just passed through it. What I like about this part of the week is that it gives you space. You don't have to keep moving. You can just stop for a while.
And that's important because if everything is high energy all the time, you miss these moments completely.
A couple of easy ones to keep in mind.
Smaller galleries around Malaga City. If you prefer something quiet, you'll find them just walking through the center.
Those are the ones I always like. You don't plan them. You just step inside and suddenly you're somewhere completely different.
And cultural spaces across the coast, Marbella, Estepona, even inland towns, if you want something lighter but still interesting.
You don't need much time for those either. You just fit them into the day.
Everything we've mentioned is on malagaradio.net, so you can see what's around you and decide what fits your pace.
And this is one of those parts of the week where it's nice not to rush. Just take your time and let things unfold.
Málaga Radio.
I love this part of the week because you can feel it shifting without anything really announcing it. People slow down a little, but at the same time, the evenings start to feel fuller, like everyone is heading out with the same question in mind. Where are we going tonight?
And the interesting part is nobody really answers that straight away. You don't sit there and decide. You go out thinking one thing and then something catches your attention and the whole evening changes direction.
Exactly. And this week, there are a couple of places where that decision almost makes itself for you, depending on the kind of evening you want.
San Pedro, the champion burger, and I'll be honest, this is where I get distracted because you go thinking it's just food and then you start noticing things and suddenly it becomes the whole evening rather than just somewhere you stop.
I knew you were going to say that. I could see it coming.
Because you stand there looking at what everyone else has ordered, and it's not just what do I want anymore. It becomes what did they choose and did I make the wrong decision? And then you start changing your mind before you've even ordered.
And then you order twice.
Sometimes.
Always.
It's the detail. That's the problem. The cheese is different everywhere. The pulled pork, the sauces. You can tell someone has actually worked on them. And the bread, nobody talks about the bread, but that's what makes the difference.
I might actually go with you this time. You're making it sound fun.
You say that now.
No, I mean it, because it doesn't feel like just eating. It feels like something you stay in.
Exactly, you don't arrive and leave. You stay, you move, you try something else, and before you realize it, the whole evening has gone there. And if you want something social and easy, this is the one that works.
It's a great idea. I can just have bites of your burgers.
I'm not sure about that. What does Joey say?
Joey doesn't share food. And then, completely different, Estepona.
Vive sus calles, and this is where the town really opens up. It's not one place, it's everything. The streets, the squares, the spaces between.
I love Estepona anyway, but when they do this, it just changes. You're not walking to somewhere, you're already in it. Everywhere you turn, there's something happening.
And food sits right in the middle of it, tapas everywhere, small stops, things you didn't plan to eat. And that's what makes it work, because you don't commit to anything.
You just walk, stop, try something, carry on, and suddenly it's hours later and you don't even remember deciding to stay.
And there's always something happening around you. Music, people, movement. So you're never just eating, you're part of it.
It feels like the town is celebrating itself.
And if you want something that builds naturally, something you don't need to organize, this is where you go.
And then there's the quieter side of the week.
Yes, Malaga itself, leading into Semana Santa, you start to notice it in the food, not in an obvious way, but it's there. The traditional dishes, bacalao, stews, things that only really feel right at this time of year.
You sit somewhere small, nothing planned, and it's just on the menu like it's always been there.
And that's the difference. It's not presented as something special. It's just part of the rhythm of the week.
Those are the meals I always remember, the ones you didn't look for, just somewhere that felt right.
And if you want something more local, less about the crowd and more about the moment, that's where you end up.
A couple of easy ones to keep in mind. Beachside chiringuitos, especially if the weather holds. Those late lunches that quietly turn into sunset.
And inland villages, places around Antequera, smaller restaurants, traditional menus, nothing forced. You just arrive and it works.
Those are the ones you remember, actually.
Always.
Everything we've mentioned, it's all up on malagaradio.net, so you can have a look, see what fits you.
But this week especially, you don't need to overthink it.
No, just go out. You'll find your evening.
Málaga Radio.
This is where the evening really shifts. You feel it almost straight away. The light drops, but the streets don't empty. They actually get busier, and suddenly it's not about where you've been. It's about where the night might take you next.
And the interesting thing is, you don't usually decide that in advance. You step out thinking you have a plan, and then something pulls you in a completely different direction.
Exactly. You hear something or you see a place that feels right and you just follow it without really thinking. Like Estepona this week, because it doesn't stop when you've finished eating, it just keeps going.
Vive sus calles carries straight through into the night, and what works about it is that it's not centered on one place. The music moves, the people move, and you move with it.
You're not choosing a venue, you're already part of it. You just drift from one moment to the next.
And that makes it very easy because you don't need to commit to anything. You can stay for 10 minutes or 2 hours, and it all feels like part of the same night.
I love that because it feels so relaxed. You're not checking times or thinking about where to go next. It just builds around you.
And if you want something social, something that has energy but doesn't feel intense, this is where your night settles quite naturally.
And then if you stay along the coast, it changes again.
Yes, because places like San Pedro or Marbella give you something a bit more contained. You still have the atmosphere, but now it's about where you choose to stop.
You sit for a bit, have a drink, watch what's happening around you, and then decide if you stay or move on.
And that's the difference. This is where you start shaping your night a little more rather than just following it.
And then Malaga City? That's a completely different feeling again.
Yes, because here it becomes more focused. Places like Sala Trinchera or Paris Quince, where people are there for something specific, live music, a set, a performance.
You go in and that's your evening. You're not moving around anymore. You stay and experience it properly.
And that's important because sometimes you want that, something you choose deliberately rather than something you discover by accident.
And then there's another side to it, which I always like this time of year.
The quieter version?
Yeah, smaller bars. Something simple, a drink, music in the background, nothing too loud, just enough.
And those are the ones you don't plan at all. You just find them and suddenly it's later than you expected.
Those are usually the nights that stay with you.
Because nothing was forced, it just happened.
That's what I like about this week. You don't have to choose one kind of night. You can have something different every day.
You can start one way, change your mind halfway through, and end somewhere you didn't expect.
A couple of easy ones to keep in mind. Beach clubs along the coast, especially if the weather holds, somewhere open, music, a drink, and you let the evening stretch out.
And live music venues in Malaga or Marbella if you want something more direct, something where the night has a clear focus.
Or just the old town bars, those simple places where one drink turns into two, and then you're not really thinking about leaving.
Those are usually the best decisions.
Everything we've mentioned is up on malagaradio.net, so you can have a look and see what's around you.
But this week especially, you don't need to overthink it.
Just follow the night. It will take you somewhere.
Málaga Radio.
And then the next day feels completely different because everything slows down again. The light comes back, the air feels fresh, and you start thinking, what do I actually want to do with the day?
And this is where the coast really works in your favor because you don't need to overplan anything. There are so many options, you just choose the pace you want.
Like the sea, that's always the first thing for me.
Yes, and this week especially, conditions are good for it. Calmer water, clear mornings, and that opens up things like kayaking along the coast.
I love that because you see everything differently from the water, the cliffs, the small coves, places you wouldn't even notice from land.
And it's one of those activities that feels active without being exhausting. You're moving, but you're also just taking everything in.
You can take your time with it as well. Stop, float, look around. It doesn't feel rushed at all.
And if you want something that starts your day well without taking it over, that's a very easy choice.
Or you stay on land, but still keep that feeling.
Yes, cycling, especially inland or along the quieter coastal routes. And this is where you start to see another side of the region.
Vineyards, small roads, open space. It feels completely different from the busier towns.
And again, it's flexible. You go at your own pace, stop where you want, maybe turn it into lunch somewhere along the way.
That's what I like. It doesn't feel like an activity. It just feels like a day that unfolds. And then, the simplest option?
The beach.
Yeah. You don't need to do much at all. Just find a spot, sit, maybe swim, and let the day pass slowly.
And sometimes that's exactly what you need, especially after a few late nights, something that resets everything without any effort.
You look around and realize you don't need a plan. You're already where you should be. And if you want something a bit more active again,
hiking, especially inland, places like around the natural parks where you get a bit of elevation and a completely different view of the coast.
It's always the views for me when you come around a corner and suddenly you can see everything.
And it doesn't have to be extreme. There are plenty of routes that are easy to follow, so you still get that experience without turning it into a full day of effort.
What I like about this part of the week is that it gives you options without pressure. You don't feel like you have to do everything.
You just decide how much energy you have, and the region adapts to that.
A couple of easy ones to keep in mind.
Water sports along the coast, paddleboarding, kayaking, anything that gets you on the water without needing experience.
Beach walks as well, especially early or late in the day when it's quieter and everything feels softer.
And inland villages, if you just want to explore somewhere different, walk around, have lunch, and take it slowly.
Those are always the days that feel the most complete.
Everything we've mentioned is on malagaradio.net, so you can see what's nearby and plan as much or as little as you want.
And this is one of those moments where you don't need to rush anything. Just take the day as it comes.
Málaga Radio.
And that's the week, or at least a few of the things that stood out to us as we were looking through it.
The rest, you'll probably discover anyway once you're out there.
That's always the best part.
And if you do end up in San Pedro at any point this week,
Here we go.
just remember, choices have consequences,
Especially if you're planning on sharing.
which you shouldn't.
You might want to, just not with Baptiste.
That is fair.
If you've enjoyed this is just one part of what we do on Málaga Radio.
There are over 200 podcasts already, covering everything from food and culture to beach life, outdoor adventures, and nights out across the coast.
And new ones coming all the time, especially as we move into the season.
You'll also hear us during the week on Freshly Squeezed, picking out moments day by day, things you can still catch if you're here.
And everything we've talked about, plus a lot more, is always up on malagaradio.net.
So you can explore it properly and find what fits your time here.
And wherever you end up this week, just take your time with it.
You don't need to do everything.
Just find the moments that feel right.
You've been listening to Carmen
And Baptiste on Málaga Radio Weekly Diary. your weekly guide to what's on along the Costa del Sol. Bye for now. Hope to see you on Freshly Squeezed in the morning.
I will be there. Bye.
Málaga Radio. Málaga Radio.